Hello, listeners, and welcome back to A Night in Question. Last episode, we had a wild episode, and tensions were running quite high in our group.
That's an understatement.
Yeah. Since that, we've had some talks, and we're sorry for bringing that drama into our podcast, and we just want to get back to the story.
Yeah, and actually, before we do, I do want to take this opportunity to apologize to all the listeners. I'm not the kind of person who normally likes to broadcast my dirty laundry. If you heard the last episode, you know why I got upset. But thankfully, we have a very lovely peacemaker in our group. Kate managed to get me calmed down. And then I actually did a little check-in with Bobby, and he's actually okay with us using the footage. He wasn't super thrilled at first, but we just kind of talked it out, and he understood that it wasn't something that first of all, that I would have allowed, but then he also understood that we were trying to build a story and that he was an important part of the story. And so that relationship is okay. Bobby's okay. I'm okay. And Kate's a really good peacemaker. So
Aww.
Thank you for your patience, everybody.
I'm just glad that we're all friends again. Yay.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, Ted, you said have allowed. Do you allow me to do things, or?
Yes.
Newsflash to me. Anyway, Kate, we miss you. What's going on in your world right now?
Well, okay, so I am happy to report that there's not been any big weird things happening in my apartment.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. No strange noises, no water spitting at me, no stovetop turning on. I did though. Okay. So, did you know that Amazon sells smudge kits?
What?
Yeah.
Like for how much?
It was like $20. And I got a whole crap ton of sage, and different. I didn't know there was different kinds. There were different kinds of sage. And if anyone this was a rabbit hole I went down. I did not know about any of this, but you can use sage to smudge. They call it smudging, and it's supposed to like clean out bad energy, I guess, and makes things better and like purifies the stuff. So yeah, Amazon had these smudge kits, and I don't know if I was supposed to use every single one that they sent in the kit. I don't think I was, but I wasn't going to take any chances.
Did you set off your smoke alarm?
It's possible there was one or two neighbor complaints about the smell. I think they thought I was smoking pot, but like, I mean, to be fair, a couple people in my building are apparently trying to smudge with pot because the marijuana stench is high. And sage does get a little. It's a powerful smell.
So you think it was the smudging that kind of calmed down the ghostly occurrences, and not the medium's visit,
or a combination thereof? I mean, all I know is that it's been better. Knock on wood. Me knocking, not a spirit, just me knocking on wood, and I'll take it. I'm not going to complain. So it was maybe it was the smudging, maybe it was just the sheer smell of the sage.
And the ghosts were like, peace.
Ghosts were like, I want to deal with this. Bye.
Girl stinking me out of her apartment.
It's a whole new method people should use if they want to get rid of spirits or anyone. I think this would work too. You bad roommate, just smudge right in their face, and boom. Betty was not thrilled.
White?
My cat.
Oh. Betty White called in.
She is named after Betty White. No, Betty, my cat, she was not stoked about all of the smudging.
How did she react? Did she just like wrinkle her nose and give you a dirty look?
Well, she hid for a couple hours under the bed. And let's just say she pooped in the bathtub.
Oh.
I don't know if that's too much information for everyone at home. When she's really mad, she'll do that. So
I'm sorry, I know you're talking about your cat, but I'm still just imagining Betty White crinkling her nose at you, hiding in your kitchen and pooping in your bathtub.
You know what? Betty White can poop in my bathtub anytime she wants. But no, it's been okay. So maybe this is dispersed some of the energy. Maybe our spirits have found some peace, or at least decided they don't want to smell sage all the time. So there you have it.
So back to our episode, Kate, this guest that we're bringing in this week has a connection to you. Do you want to introduce our guest?
Yes, I'm
We're talking
really
a little.
excited.
He's not with us yet, but he's joining us soon.
I told him I'd give him the signal. He might be waiting outside my door, though. Who knows?
What's
Knowing
the signal?
No, I'm gonna text him. It's my building manager, Zack Skinski, who is amazing. Zack, we love you. Everyone in the building loves you. But I think we've talked about this before. He was here. He was the building manager here when everything went down.
With Paul and Abby Stone.
He is. I don't know if he wants me saying how old he is, but he's been here since then. So for y'all can do math. He's been here for a while, and he was a big fan of Paul's band. He was a big, I guess he knew all of the local bands. He was a big fixture in the grunge scene here in the 90s, and kind of lives his best life as building manager here by day and able to do the music scene in Capitol Hill by night. So and he's being really generous in talking to us. When I brought it up with him, I told him what we were doing, and he actually seemed kind of excited about it. So,
well, I'm excited to talk to him and to get another kind of eyewitness to this environment.
Well, and all of you need to be nice, because this is the guy who, can change my light bulbs.
Hey, I know Zack. We actually got along really well before, so I'm totally cool.
Oh, that's right. You would have encountered him before.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
When was the last time you saw him, do you think?
I would probably say a few weeks before you got back into town.
Oh, so recent-ish.
Yeah, we've kept in touch. I mean, we're not like pen pals, but we're still in the same neighborhood. And when you could go out and be recognized without a face covering, we would, we'd wave and stuff. As far as the last time, we've had a real conversation, I'd probably say it was about a year ago. Just kind of checked in, asked him how he was doing. Cause he does, kind of do the music scene still a little bit here and there.
Okay. Well, this will be fun then to talk to him and bring him on. Should I text him? We're ready for him.
Do it.
Okay.
Come on up and see me sometime, Zach.
All right, I'm not texting him that. Thank you very much.
All right, Kate, is Zach ready?
Yeah. Is Zack, you on the call?
Is this on?
Yep. You're coming through just great.
Hey, Kate. How's it going?
It's good. How are you?
Good. I'm good. This is weird, but I'm good.
Well, we really appreciate you taking the time to join us and share a little bit today.
Thanks. Yeah. I'm glad to be here. Hey, did I hear Ted?
Yeah, it's good to have you on here.
Hey.
Yeah, good to see you or hear from you or
virtually
exist in some kind of similar space as you, I guess. How goes the painting project? Last time I saw you, you were painting you were repainting a bunch of the old apartments. Are you done with that? I know it's been a while.
Oh, hell, I'm done with most of them. There was a fire in one of them, well, a small fire. And so now we got to go back in and repaint that because the tenant was an idiot.
Oh,
I don't mind people smoking pot and whatever, but
did the fire?
I don't know what he was doing.
Did the fire smell like
What?
sage?
Hey, hey, it was not me.
Better not have been you.
No, we were talking earlier how I was smudging using sage to get rid of like evil energy or bad energy, and but it was controlled. It was controlled sage. It was controlled smudge.
Well, I hope so.
Well, it's admirable that you've stuck around for so long. I know from talking to some of the older tenants, we all love you. It's not the Chelsea Gardens without Zack.
Thanks.
Zach, you've been involved in the scene as well, right? Besides just going to shows into the Seattle music scene.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I don't play an instrument or nothing like that. I tried a long time ago. I was trying to learn to play guitar, and this is back when, well, when Paul and I first met, and he was inspiring to me, but I'm just not musically inclined. I could never really pick it up. But sometimes I would help out the bands, way early back, and I'd either function as like a roadie for them, or I guess they call them groupies, but I wasn't doing anything untoward, or just hanging out and helping people move stuff in and out of their vans, and I guess that's basically roadie shit. Pardon me. Don't know if I can swear on here.
That word is pretty fine. The F word we try to steer clear of, but
light swearing.
Light swearing.
Oh, Roger. Right. Oh, okay. I got you.
So you were employed as a roadie.
Oh, go ahead.
You were sorry, Zach. You were employed as a
roadie. Not officially. Like it was a lot of like, hey, we'll give you $50 if you want to help us out this week. Kind of like, moving friends. They pay for, a pizza party or whatever after you're done. It wasn't like anything official.
Okay. So you knew Paul and Abby Stone.
Did you know them before they moved in then? Because if you were a fixture in the music scene, did you know Paul and his band? And
I did. I actually, I don't want to toot my own horn or nothing, but I helped Paul get into Chelsea Gardens in the first place. And I'd like to think I was sort of inspirational in some of their music.
How did you help him get in? Did you just he was looking for a place and you were like, the building I manage has a place, or did you?
Oh yeah. Well, back then, Chelsea Gardens was a little bit more, I don't want to say high class. It sounds like it's run down. It hasn't exactly run down, but there were different rules back then a little bit more. And the manager, the guy that I started working under, they took credit checks and things like to the nth degree. So they didn't want you to come in unless you had some pretty spotless credit. And Paul, being a musician, as most musicians are, especially starting out, he didn't have the best credit, shall we say. So since I was already here, I was already, learning, what would you call that these days? An understudy, I guess, of like the manager. I moved some papers around and arranged things, and I was able to get him in. I knew he was good for it, so it didn't scare me or nothing.
Oh, so if you hadn't helped him out, he wouldn't have ever lived here with Abby.
I'm sure he would have got someplace good, and he was. It was only a matter of time until his stardom just hit, but yeah. I think without me, he probably wouldn't have been able to afford the apartment he did, here. And I'm really glad he was able to, even for what happened.
How long had you been around when Paul moved in? Then you said you were kind of learning from the manager at the time. So were you pretty new, or had you been around for a while?
Like a few months, enough to kind of know the lay of the land, but not enough to be a seasoned expert or nothing. But I'd say somewhere between 4 and 6 months at least.
Was the apartment unoccupied, or had it been unoccupied for a while before Paul and Abby moved in, or were there tenants there?
Well, yeah. I mean, it was unoccupied for a little while. We had to clean it up. The previous tenant was an older woman and a senior, and she, well, I don't.
Did she
I don't
die
wanna
in
make
the
you nervous.
apartment?
I don't want to make you nervous about it. It
Are
wasn't
there
like
more
it was.
than one dead people in my apartment? Why did I? Oh my goodness!
You got a
No,
whole crew.
it's fine. No, it's fine. It's fine. It was completely natural. It was
Where's
natural
my
cause of
sage?
death. It was. She. See, Kate, this is why I didn't want to tell you.
Does everyone die who moves into this apartment?
No. It ain't like that.
What happened to the person who moved in before me? Where are they? I need numbers. I need Facebook profiles. I need to know they are still among the living.
Well, they just moved into a bigger apartment later on. They're fine. Well, I mean, I don't know where they're at now. I think they moved to Florida last
Then
time.
they're not fine. That's almost worse than death.
Oh,
Well-
sorry to our listeners in Florida.
I mean, I'm sure they're fine. Anyway, she was old, right? And she had a lot of cats, and so
That sounds familiar.
Shut up. How many cats? That's just. I just have one.
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay.
She was one of them. You know how they talk about the old cat ladies with 30 cats. I mean, she didn't have 30, but I don't know, 5 maybe 6.
That's a lot of cats.
I'm looking into my future right now.
Do you recall that lady who passed away in the apartment? Kim's future self. Do you recall what her name was?
What her name was?
Yeah, but just by any chance,
I mean that's back a ways.
the last name.
Let me think. Was it?
It's okay. I just wanted to casually Google search, see if I could.
Yeah,
find anything.
I got that brain blockage thing that comes up, so maybe as we're talking, it'll spring to mind.
Sure.
Jones, Alma Jones. I think it was ALMA. Her first name spelled, last name, of course, is Jones. Yeah, she's a nice lady. She's a little spooky, but like the old people are kind of spooky. At least I used to think that way.
Actually, I met Alma briefly.
Yeah.
She had hearing aids, like really, really big hearing aids.
Yeah, that's her.
Yeah, she always made me think of that movie Sister Act when Whoopi Goldberg would stomp the floor and she'd go, Alma, check your battery. Just every time I saw her, I kept thinking of that scene in that movie.
That's pretty good. That's like that.
Do we know if she ever left the stove on?
The stove?
I'm just checking on something.
Oh, I don't know. Actually, I never really asked. But that's not what killed her. I can guarantee that.
That's good. That's good. I'm feeling very good right now.
She didn't have a penchant for squatting in the tub, right?
Listen, you.
Just
not that I'm aware of.
just a little inside joke, Zach. Sorry.
She did like to scowl at the kids through her curtains,
Was she besties with Jan?
Well, I don't know if anyone wasn't besties with Jan, at least from her perspective. Boy, there were so many stories. Well, Jan, I guess sometimes they seem like they were in some sort of competition, for who could hear or spread the wildest rumor. But then, well, once Alma was gone, I guess Jan didn't have any company. Maybe Jan took her out. Maybe that's it.
I've been advocating for Jan being dangerous this entire podcast. So thank you.
This is a whole new conspiracy for our list. I love it.
Well, I know that's not what happened. Old age is just that's how people die, right? They just keel over because they're really old. Sorry, really old.
So what happened? She just like made some coffee and fell on the floor. Like, she passed away?
I think she just hit her expiration date. She passed that do not use by.
Ooh.
And well, we found her on the floor, and it wasn't for a few days, unfortunately. So the cats were eating her face.
Wait, what?
Oh, can I say that? I don't know if I could say that on here.
Oh my god!
What is happening?
Well, you could say face. You just can't say the other F word.
Oh, all right. Well, that's a weird line of thinking, Ted. That's what cats do. You die and they eat your face. How can you not know this, Kate?
Oh my god! I'm gonna feed the cat. I'm putting food out for her right now. So much food.
Keep her
Just
fed.
bags of food.
Yeah. I want to get back to Paul and Abby Stone. Zach, can you describe Paul and Abby a little bit, your relationship with them and your experience?
Oh, sure. Well, you already know what they look like, right?
Yeah.
Or what they did look like. All right. Well, yeah. Well, Paul and I, we met when he was still early on in the band days, and I loved their music. I thought they were really special, and I knew they were going to be something special, and I told him so many times. And well, he and Abby, when they moved in, Paul would often come down and hang out with me while I was renovating one of the apartments, or changing the lights out and fixtures. And we used to have some of the apartments on the bottom floor would have these what we call boob lights. And if you've been around enough places in Seattle, I'm sure you've seen.
I've had boob lights. Yep, I've had boob lights in New York, and I think in every apartment I ever had.
Yeah, well, he had this little obsession for a little while about like taking or having me take photos of him while he was like holding the boob lights, and being obscene. Can we say that on this radio?
Yeah, I think that's
anyway.
fine.
Hopefully. Well, I don't know, how decent he can be, but he had a good sense of humor. And later on, when he and Abby started having all their problems, I don't want to speak ill of the dead or nothing, but he'd come over and we'd hang out, we'd crack open some beers, and he'd just tell me about his problems, his day, what he wanted, his goals and dreams. And for a long time I felt like he was my best friend, and I think that I'd like to think that he felt the same way.
So you were tight. What were some of the problems that he mentioned to you, Zach?
Well, I mean, it's long gone, I guess. So it's not like I'm betraying any secrets or nothing. But he'd come over and he'd tell me about some of the dumb fights they would have about stupid shit or finances or whatever. And then often he'd kind of get a little squirrely eyed looking, and he'd start telling me that he thought that maybe she was seeing somebody, beside him, and well, he started asking me to do things like spy on his neighbors and keep tabs, like when he wasn't there, like was she there, did she have anybody else with her and stuff. And I didn't feel real comfortable doing that kind of thing, but he's my best friend, and I don't want him to get hurt neither. So there were times that I would tell him if I saw someone that I didn't recognize around the place, especially around the apartment. And I mean, don't worry, Kate. Though I ain't gonna start, spying on you and being all spooky, whatever.
Well, that's good. I feel like I have enough of that in my apartment already.
Well, you must. All those people.
So last week we had a medium into the apartment, and she had some interesting reactions to Betty, but she also, when she went into the bedroom, there was a section of the bedroom that she had kind of a visceral reaction to, and I'm just really, really curious. I mean, did you ever experience anything weird when you were in the apartment, like whether it was hanging out with Paul or moving them in?
Are you talking like ghosts or something?
Yeah, or strange feelings, or...
Well, people, they're always telling stories, but in my experience, just old pipes and creaky boards and, settling sounds of the buildings. They're always like, oh, it's so cold, but just in this one spot. Or
Specifically in that apartment?
Well, no, I mean, just like all over, not at Kate's, but like, we always have people every few years. There's somebody who thinks that their apartment is haunted, or they're like, well, I get a draft in the wind in this room, and then I'll check the room, and like the windows, it's a single pane, and they got a crack in it or whatever, and I mean that explains that.
Yeah.
So there's not been other reports of weird stuff in this unit specifically by past tenants or in the bedroom. Like, I mean, it's silly, but the one wall, my cat sits there and stares at it. Like, that's kind of weird.
Well, there isn't anything really. I mean, I guess there was the mirror, but that was weird. But that's nothing big, no big deal.
What mirror?
Well, so when like way back when Paul moved in, he asked me to help him set the place up, and so we were making stuff, and because Paul wasn't rich, he didn't have a lot of things, so. Sometimes we keep, if a tenant moves out or gets evicted or whatever, and we don't know what to do with their stuff, we'll keep a bunch of it in the basement until they either claim it or until the statutes have gone up, and then we can do whatever we want with it. And so we had some old furniture and, knickknacks and lights and stuff like that down there. So I told him he could look around and, choose what he wanted and take some of it upstairs, and we'd fix his place up. And one of the things that he thought was really cool was this mirror. It's a big one of them, the big old, archaic looking types, and it was huge and nice. And I guess it was weird. And Paul thought Abby was going to love it. So I don't know where it came from. I guess somebody left it behind because it was sitting there for as long as I'd been there.
Well,
the basement.
One thing I remembered from our research, Kate, that I think we read a little bit about a mirror being bought at an antique store. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Maybe. Do you think that was false, and maybe this mirror was from a previous tenant of this building?
I suppose that's possible. I mean, it's a kind of a weird detail, so it's possible that's the sort of thing that got mixed up.
Well, one side note, all these random complaints that Zack has heard from other tenants in the building, this random drafts, cold in one area. Kate, I think we should kind of do a little research on the history of the building.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. We should look more into that. We've kind of neglected that.
Yeah.
And maybe that explains why people keep dying in my unit.
That's just normal stuff. I didn't mean to imply that the building was haunted. It's not haunted. I'm just saying every apartment building. I mean, I talked to lots of people who are managers, and everybody has the same problem. There's always somebody in their apartment complex or their neighborhood or whatever that always thinks that someplace is haunted, and it's always leaky pipes or a draft in the wind. It's just normal stuff. Like, you don't have to worry about your apartment being haunted, Kate. It isn't haunted, all right?
Well, with the amount of sage I burned, it shouldn't be anymore. But I would be sort of interested in looking at the crime scene photos to see if maybe the layout and what was happening in there might explain some of the weird things that the medium felt too.
Well, you didn't even notice it until the medium came over, though, right?
I mean, there was the whole reason we asked the medium to come over is because there was weird stuff happening a lot.
Well, Well, like what?
Well,
Well, I mean, that's another podcast. I'm sure I could.
well, it's we've had or I've had the stove's been turning on, like I'm finding the stove on, and water spitting from the fridge, and
Oh, that sounds like a leak and maybe a faulty igniter switch. Maybe I should come take a look.
maybe
You could have just reported these to me. I don't
well,
want you thinking the old woman Alma Jones is trying to cook at 2 a.m.
I might have had someone prompting me there, Jeremy. I mean, and again, the cat stares at the wall a lot, and that's weird. The wall in the bedroom, she just stares. There's nothing on the wall, and she stares at it.
Well, I mean, I feel like if I say anything more, it's probably going to freak you out even more, and I don't want to
say
do
that because then I'm going to get more freaked out.
Spill your juicy secrets.
Well, all right. So, when Paul and I brought that mirror up, and we got it on the bedroom, we put it on the far wall, and this was after the event that happened, and the place is a mess. I had to do something with it, and I couldn't get off the wall, and it was on my ass to get the apartment cleaned and emptied. And I couldn't get it off the wall again. It was like it was just stuck there, and I don't know. I mean, obviously Paul must use something. Maybe he used like that Gorilla Glue or whatever to put it up there. But it just was the darndest thing. No matter what I tried to do, I was afraid I was going to break it, trying to pry it off. I couldn't. And, I don't know. I guess he must have found some way to do that. But, he's always on my ass to get the apartment cleaned and emptied. So we just, we're pressured for time. And I just put a little drywall over the mirror. And that's actually why that wall, if you look at it right, if you go to the edge and look past, it's why that wall sticks out a little bit right there. But it's hardly noticeable at all. That's why I thought.
The mirror is still in the wall?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's, the wall's covered over, but
so
it's not that unusual. We've had to paper over a whole bunch of things in this complex.
Do you think that could be? I don't know. I mean, I know you don't think there's anything supernatural happening, but even just like maybe there's sounds, and that's part of why Betty keeps staring at the wall.
Well, I mean, cats can. They can detect all sorts of things that we can't hear on the spectrum. Maybe mice have, made some little nest or something back behind the mirror.
If there's mice, should we?
There's mice in every building. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, there are mice
that.
in every building. It's not like rats. If there were rats, it'd be a problem. Mice aren't so much a problem. They're more of an annoyance than anything.
It's just so weird that there's like a mirror behind my wall now. I'm not going to just be fixating on it. I'm sorry.
See, if I hadn't told you, you wouldn't even be able to tell because my work is that good. But now I told you, and now you're going to freak out about it.
Well, it's just kind of strange. I don't know. I'm going to look at it all the time, be like, where's the mirror? Am I looking at it? How does my hair look? I don't know.
It's going to be fine.
Just out of curiosity, Zach, can you describe the mirror at all? Was it like just a standard panel mirror or
standard? No, it's like one of them big old fashioned looking, like an oval sort of, and it has some, I don't know what they call that. Some of the, that Greek looking sort of, decoration around the edges. It's really pretty.
Well, why didn't you just leave it then? It sounds really cool. Like, why did you feel like you had to cover it up?
I guess I panicked a bit. I guess. I mean, it was on me, and so I figured like if I just drywalled over it, then I wouldn't have to worry about why I couldn't get it off of there. I mean, the manager at the time, he would not have he wouldn't have understood if I had told him that I couldn't get a simple mirror off a wall, and I wanted to keep my job, and it just seemed like it was the easiest thing to do.
Build an entirely new wall.
It's just a little drywall over it. I mean, the place is a mess.
Okay. One thing I just wanted to circle back to when you said that Paul was suspicious of Abby having an affair. We found out from Bobby Linden. I'm sure you remember him. He was a boy in the apartment in the apartment building.
Yeah, I remember.
He mentioned that his father and Abby had a relationship. He believed it was friendship, but it was a little ambiguous. Did you ever see Bobby Linden's father and Abby together?
You know, I feel like I keep speaking ill of the dead. I'm just making her out to be some horrible person, and that's not what I mean to be. I mean, yeah, I did a few times. I'm sure it was all innocent, but they actually probably spent quite a lot of time together. And sometimes I would hear when I was over with Paul, well, there was this one time, especially, Paul and I had just come back from, I was wallpapering an apartment, and we were going to hang out for a bit, and Dylan, his son, came out of the bedroom, out of his room, and he asked about, Mommy's friend, and was Mommy's friend going to be back soon? And Paul kind of looked at me, and he didn't know what to say, and I didn't know what to say, and maybe it was Linden, maybe I don't know. Honestly, despite all of Paul's suspicions, I can't really see Abby or anyone, stepping out on somebody like that. He was absolutely the best guy ever. It would have been a dumb mistake, and she wasn't like that. I don't think.
Zach, I have one last question that I'm really curious about because I know certain keys kind of open multiple apartments in the building. Do you know if anybody could have had access to Paul and Abby's apartment besides them and you, perhaps?
Oh, well, I mean, back then, that was a long time ago, and I wasn't the manager. I was just basically, changed out light bulbs and unclogged the toilets. But, well, I had a master key, and Bert, the old manager, he had one too. But he was really cheap. He didn't like to spend money on anything he didn't have to. So honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if he was reusing the keys. It's certainly possible. But don't worry, Kate. I feel like I'm just giving you this worst scenario situation ever. We don't do that, so it's not a problem. Everybody has their own keys. If it did ever happen in the first place, it doesn't happen now. All the locks get changed.
That's something at least.
It's fine.
But someone could have had access to Paul and Abby's apartment if they lived in a corresponding apartment. Is that correct?
I mean, yeah, you could. Like in the old days, it was possible, but it wasn't very likely. And it's certainly not likely now. Not at all. It's impossible at this point.
So the locks have all been changed now.
Oh yeah.
But back then it was possible.
It was possible, yeah. But not likely.
I feel like there's still more things that I want to ask you, but I also feel like we almost need to devote another session to this.
Zach, I think you've given us a lot to absorb and to think about. But thank you for being a part of our show today. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh, my pleasure. Thank you guys for asking me. This is fun. It's good to see what the kids are getting up to,
Yeah. And we did. Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't want to interrupt, but I just want to, if I could, I don't know if he's listening or where he is now, but if Dylan might be listening to this, I just wanted to say that I'm really sorry about what happened with your family, your mom and dad. And I have some photos and some other knickknacks and things that belong to your parents, and I really want you to have them, Dylan. And I know your father would, and your mom too. So just, reach out to me. I'm at Chelsea Apartments. You can get hold of me anytime, and I'll make sure you get your birthright. I'll get you what's coming to you.
Well, Kate, we actually didn't even talk on the actual night of, so I would love to have Zack back. What do you think?
Yeah, if Zack doesn't mind.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Sorry, I was nodding. Yeah, that'd be fine. I mean, if you want me back.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Well, yeah, this has given us, as Jeremy was saying, some good things to kind of think on. But we'll arrange a time we can talk with you some more.
All right.
Thank you, everyone who tuned in today. We'll be back next episode, and we got a lot of stuff to unpack. So thanks for listening.